Caribbean American Forum. I'm coming back to the AFC's agenda. One would think that, again, because of the combined opposition's position as a majority in the parliament, one would think that the opposition itself would come together and decide on some big capital expenditure development projects that benefit the constituents of the opposition. For instance, over the past 19 years since this current government has been in power, there have been complaints from constituents of the opposition in places like Bartica and Linden and certain parts of Region 4, certain parts of Region 3, that are basically enclaves of the opposition, that the government has neglected them. So you have a situation where the infrastructure in some communities have collapsed. There's no economic development that would help create opportunity for entrepreneurship, small businesses, and jobs for young people. So in your vision that you expressed during the election campaign, you talk about creating those opportunities for the people, and they have given you a mandate. Is there any big ticket item that the opposition is talking to the government about that it could point to as an achievement of its agenda in keeping with its mandate as a majority in the parliament?
Well, at present, there is no big project that we're aiming at because, as I said, the budget came to us as a fait accompli, and we are now looking at the budget very, very closely. In fact, I'm speaking to you from a building called the Office of Leader of the Opposition, and this is where we meet. This is where the shadow cabinet meets. This is where we've been meeting the Alliance for Change. What we are looking at is ensuring that the demands of members of the APNU from all of the regions, in fact, there are 3 regions which I would call the green regions, Region 4, Region 7, and Region 10, which are on the chairmen who are elected by Partnership for National Unity. And there is one, Region 8, which is on the Alliance for Change. Yes, we do have concerns, we do have issues, we do have projects which we would like to see well funded, because these are projects which support the residents of those regions. But we also have to cooperate with the national government, which has to pay attention to national education. For example, the university. We support the university. There have been troubles at the university for the last 2 months, and we have supported the students, the staff, and the workers of the university to improve conditions there. There are projects, and we have submitted to the executive branch a list of 10 or so core points which we want attended to in the budget, and we're still in the process of debating them. Even though the budget debate is going on in the National Assembly, we are still working to achieve consensus or agreement on some of those items with the administration. Yes.
Another question on the budget. I've been listening to the budget debate, the appropriations process, as well as the budget debate. Last Friday, I happened to listen to an exchange between Ms. Amna Ali and Prime Chan, who is the Minister of Education. And Ms. Ali is asking some serious accountability questions, and the Minister is giving responses. Now, I'm not sure how confident Ms. Ali or the APNU or even myself would be in the responses by the Minister. So when these questions are asked, and for instance, Amna repeatedly asked for lists of certain things, list of certain schools that are being constructed, at what process of the development of the construction phase these certain schools are, the list of schools in Region 4 that have watchmen, that have big budget items, etc. And she's giving these, to me, flippant answers. So how accountable is the government being in this process, and what measures the opposition has to fact check what the government is presenting in its responses to these very serious questions?
Well, here we have a situation in which we have to examine the National Assembly in a holistic manner. It's not just what is taking place on the floor of the National Assembly during the budget debate that we have to consider. We have to consider the very claim or the action, the motion that was advanced by the Attorney General in the Supreme Court, in which he challenged our right, or the right of the opposition, In fact, my name was mentioned, and the name of Mr. Raphael Trotman was mentioned in the writ that was brought before the High Court, challenging the right of the National Assembly to modify the terms under which the committees of the National Assembly were elected, and we used our voting strength to alter the composition of those committees. Now, this seems like a long-winded explanation, but in answer to your question, it's the committee system of the National Assembly which will exercise influence in holding the government, in holding the executive branch accountable. So unless the opposition parties, APNU and AFC, can control those committees, we will not be able to demand the level of accountability and transparency from the executive. So that is why we move to control those committees. And I think the executive realized that with tighter scrutiny, they would not be able to do what they have been doing for the last 19 years. And that is why they challenged our demands to modify the composition of the committees in the National Assembly in the High Court. So the question you're asking is connected with the challenge to our right, the right of the parliamentarians to elect committees which will scrutinize the executive branch in accordance with our strength in the National Assembly. So it is a very complex process, but it is not just a matter of Ms. Ali and Ms. Manikchan. It is also a matter of how those committees will function over the next 4 years in the National Assembly.
Thanks for that response. You're listening to the Caribbean American Corner here on TCNHD TV. We're talking with the opposition leader of Guyana, Mr. David Granger. This is your host, Rickford Burke. We'll take a commercial break and we'll be back in 60 seconds.